The story began with a man named Sandy who was sleeping in his van. When he suddenly woke up, a policewoman named Begona refused to park his van there. After this, Sandy reached late for work as well. So his boss Rommel fired him from job by giving him half salary, and before leaving, Sandy had to clean the bathroom of the ship. Later, when Sandy was going in his car, his petrol ran out, after which he somehow reached the gas station where he met his friend Pedro. Sandy told him that he was going to get a divorce from his wife Machi. Later, when he went to meet the lawyer told him and Maddie that after the divorce their property would divide it equally. But Maddie told him that she wanted a divorce as soon as possible, but the lawyer told them it would take a few months. After coming out from there, a woman who was selling lottery tickets called Sandy, and he also happily bought lottery ticket. He bought the ticket and kept it in his cigarette box and went away. Then in this evening, Sandy reached his college's reunion party where he met his friends Pedro and Marcos. Then, Sandy saw Maddie laughing with a man named Mario later. Maddie told him that Mario was the owner of the supermarket where she worked, but Sandy became very jealous and went to his friends. Well, later Sandy came home and threw away the pack of cigarettes because he completely forgotten about the lottery. Next morning, Sandy was taking bath while listening to the radio when he heard the news of the lottery. Suddenly he remembered about the ticket and start running to find the ticket in the garbage. Finally, he found the ticket and Sandy jumped with joy because he won the lottery. Sandy immediately called Maddie, but there he saw his wife doing jiggle jiggle with Mario, but in reality Maddie had refused Mario from kissing. Sandy went to the bank to withdraw his 25 million euros of his winnings, but soon got scared and came out. Then the bank manager Damien came out after him, but Sandy left in his car. Suddenly Sandy turned and saw that Damien was still in the car. Damien gave him advice to use his money properly. Then while having lunch, Damien asked Sandy, "How is going at home?" Sandy told him, "Brother, I am going to get divorced." On which Damien said, "Divorce? After this he will have to give half of his money to Maddie." That is why he asked Sandy to hide this from Maddie. Sandy didn't want to hide this from his wife at all, but later when he saw Maddie again with Mario, he got very angry. Just then Damien came there and finally Sandy agreed to hide this from everyone. After a few days, Sandy went to meet Mario because Mario had offered him a job. They had a little argument, but in the end Sandy got the job of packing things. After this, Sandy bought nice clothes and things with lottery money. Then he came home and hid all the things and started dancing happily. But then suddenly his wife came back home. So Sandy tried to hide his new clothes and watch, but Maddie doubts him. Well, in the evening when Sandy went to have dinner in a 5-star hotel, he saw a beautiful girl named Christina there, and then both of them smiled after seeing each other. Next morning when Sandy's eyes opened, he was too late for work. Now he somehow reached the supermarket and apologized to his friend Thania. Later, Maddie asked him where he was last night. Then Mario came there and scolded Sandy, but Maddie handled the situation. The next day Sandy met a surfer named Eric because now he also wanted to learn surfing. For the next few days, Sandy practiced in the sea and learned it a lot. One night Sandy received a call from Marcos and Pedro's, so Sandy told them about learning the surfing, but they felt that Sandy was depressed and talking nonsense because learning surfing is a hobby of rich people. They called Sandy to meet, but Sandy refused, which surprised them a lot. Well, the other day Sandy met Damien and reached to buy Rommel's ship. Rommel could not believe them that the same person whom I had fired from work a few days ago was buying my ship. Well, to take revenge, Sandy bought that ship and got the bathrooms cleaned by Rommel. Later, Damien and Sandy were preparing to buy more things and suddenly they saw Marcos and Pedro's coming from the front. They were surprised to see Sandy's clothes, but Sandy lied that these clothes were for his new job. Well, the Marcos and Pedro told him that these days he has started ignoring them, and they got angry and left from there. Meanwhile, Damien and Sandy reached Sandy's house after having a nice meal. When Sandy went inside, he saw that Maddie's parents Laura and Miguel had came for dinner. Sandy sat with them at dinner table but was finding it very difficult to eat. But soon, due to eating too much, his stomach got upset and he ran to bathroom. Then Laura asked Maddie about her married life. Maddie lied and said that everything is fine. Then when Sandy came back, Miguel saw Sandy's expensive watch. Sandy lied that it is fake. It is very cheap. So Miguel started saying, "Son, it is looking very good, also bring one for me." Then suddenly Sandy's phone started ringing, but he did not pick up the phone. But when Maddie asked him to pick up the phone, Sandy panicked and told Maddie's parents that they both getting divorced. Later, when Sandy was going back from there, he saw his friends Pedro and Marcos drinking in a cheap bar. Well, when he was sitting in the hotel playing with his expensive gadgets, he felt quite lonely. There was so much money, but there was no one to share happiness with. Then Sandy called Damien, told him about the secret plan. The next day Pedro was at the gas station when a beautiful woman came and praised his beauty. Later Pedro told to Marcos that he got a modeling offer. Then Sandy came there and sat alone, but then Marcos and Pedro called him. They also told Sandy about Pedro's modeling, but Sandy was not that surprised. Then later Marcos came to his house, where he was alone taking care of his two small children. His wife Lorena came and informed him that his distant uncle left him a lot of real estate. Later, Damien and Sandy talked together, and then it turns out that Sandy was behind all of this. Both of them were playing golf when suddenly their eyes fell on Mario. Then Damien told Sandy that Mario was pretending to take a loan from the bank. In reality, he was trying to sell supermarket. But it will cause everyone to lose their jobs. That's why he is pretending to be good, that he is trying very hard to save. Then Mario saw Sandy and asked him that why he had not gone to work. Meanwhile, in the supermarket, Thania asked Maddie if the supermarket was really going to be closed, but Maddie said that these were all rumors. Then Sandy tried to tell Maddie that Maddie was really going to sell the market, but then Mario came there and told Maddie that he saw Sandy playing golf. Due to this, Maddie got angry on Sandy that he not even pay 2 pennies at home and playing golf outside. As soon as Sandy came out from the supermarket, Pedro's and Marco met him. They arrived in a shining supercar and took Sandy along with them and went out for a fun drive. Sandy did not like this because Marcos was spending money on these things instead of fulfilling the needs of his family. But then Marcos said that, "Did your father gave me the money? It's my money. I can do whatever I want." Finally, Sandy told them that actually this car came from his money. Both of them did not believe in that. Then suddenly Marcos lost control of the car and he went straight. He fell down the hill. Meanwhile, Sandy shouted and told everyone the secret of his lottery. Well, after some time, he somehow swam out. Next morning, Maddie got a call from Mario. Seeing this, Sandy got very jealous, and he also made a call to Christina to make Maddie jealous. That night Maddie went on a date with Mario, and Sandy was with Christina, but neither of them had a fun at all. Later, when both of them reached at home at the same time, they both pretended to be happy with their new friends. Then the next day Mario called Maddie to call supermarket and tell everyone that supermarket is closing. Mario lies that he tried very hard to save supermarket. This made Maddie very sad, but then Sandy, to entertain her, asked her to go for dinner. When Maddie came back home, Santa had cleaned the entire house and also prepared Maddie's favorite food. Then while talking, Sandy said that he cannot believe that they both are going to be divorced. After hearing this, Maddie also realized that both of them have made mistakes. They apologized each other and finally kissed each other. After this, Sandy happily told Maddie about the lottery. Maddie didn't believe him. She thought that Sandy was joking, so she came out angrily. But then Sandy took her to the shed and showed her all the expensive things that he had bought. Then Maddie asked him that why he hid this thing till now, but Sandy somehow convinced her by turning the matter around. After this, Sandy and Marcos went to see Pedro's modeling show, but people did not like Pedro at all. This made Pedro disappointed. And then Marcos and Pedro accused Sandy of ruining their lives. Poor Sandy kept thinking that how ruined their lives. The next day Sandy called Damien and settled his accounts and promised to never meet again. On the other hand, Maddie's friend Lauren asked her to file a case against Sandy so that Maddie could get half of the money. But then Maddie noticed that Sandy had sent himself half of the money to her bank account. Then she got the divorce papers, but Maddie realized that she still loves Sandy. She also get a call that supermarket is reopening. When Maddie arrives there, Thania tells her that someone had bought the entire supermarket, which means they will be no longer out of job. Maddie went to tell the good news to Mario, but then it was revealed that it was Mario who was selling the store. Well, the Damien came there and said that Mario is fired and from now on Maddie will be the director of the supermarket. Maddie became very happy and she started searching for Sandy. Sandy was at the airport at that time, and Maddie reached there searching for him. After searching for a long time, she finally found Sandy. Maddie slapped him hard asking,
"Where were you going leaving me behind, dog?"
And then both of them kissed each other. After this, everything got better in their life, and both of them started having fun. And thank you for watching the video.